Okay, so let's talk about what happened a couple of days ago. The PBA, the Police Benevolent Association, is the union for the NYPD. They endorsed Donald Trump, shocker. But you know, there's obviously a big movement right now across the country to defund the police. I don't have to tell our audience what defund the police means, but reallocating resources, an extraordinary amount of money is put into police unions in cities across America, New York, in the billions, while schools are underfunded, while mental health services are barely existent. I mean, the social services are not being funded, especially in the midst of a pandemic, right? So the PBA tweeted something out. We'll put it up on screen. They tweeted something out that really, I think, it's kind of hard to say like the police go too far, but this is the official count of the New York City PBA. They tweeted out to you, quote, "Keep looking over your shoulder, Mike." How casual. "You had to bring in your billionaire buddies and your president VP candidates to barely squeak by. How much did you spend per vote? And how much will you have to spend after voters suffer through 2 more years of hashtag no bail New York?" You know, I don't really even care about what the back and forth was about. I think the first thing I want to address is he's talking about like Bernie Sanders, who you endorsed in 2000. They're talking about Bernie Sanders you endorsed in 2020, and this money that came in to win elections. I mean, what is it, like mysterious? What are they like? It just seemed so crazy, the argument. But the threat, the open threat, shows just how unaware of I mean, how they overplay their hand. And I mean, I guess my question is, are they overplaying their hand? Is this a sentiment that will fly?
Well, I certainly hope not, because it's pretty scary if it does. And look, I made some waves in the aftermath of that. I was on with Ira Lewis on New York One. And I said, look, they've crossed over. They're no longer an organized labor organization that advocates for their members. They've become an armed political organization. These people are legally entitled to carry weapons, to shoot them when it's called for. And they're out here issuing threats, whether, you know, they tried to walk it back and say, well, you know, it wasn't a physical threat. We were just saying politically, you know, blah, blah, blah. But you use words like that, and the innuendo is obvious. They're saying it that way for a reason. They're not saying we're going to oppose your election. They're saying, look over your shoulder. That's intended to imply something. And it's menacing. And there should be no place for that kind of thing. And this is a group that went out there, endorsed Donald Trump. Their rhetoric is over the top every single day. And these are people that should be held to a higher standard, because they are given privileges that nobody else has. They carry deadly weapons around the streets of New York City in order to protect us. They're supposed to be neutral arbiters of the laws and keeping the peace. And once they become such zealous advocates on issues, threats like this become so much more than just the words in the tweet. And I know you said that you want to talk more about the threat in the background. Just a brief bit of history of where this came to be. I was the author of New York's bail laws that's gotten so much attention. So we have made some historic reforms in New York. You're eliminating bail for nonviolent crimes more so than any other state. It's actually led to some really important changes in people's lives here in New York and improvements, and I'm proud of it. Everyone's trying to mischaracterize it. The police were furious because they just want to lock people up just because they arrest somebody. And mind you, this is bail. It's pre-trial. It's not someone that's been convicted of a crime. This is just someone who's been arrested and doesn't have the money to buy their way out of jail. And so they were pretty mad about that. And they opposed one of our candidates specifically to make a point, and they spent $1 million of union money to try and beat him. And that was Senator Kevin Thomas in Nassau County, and he won. And
Nassau County, I mean, to be clear, like so much of the police union that police and the NYPD force come from outside of New York, specifically Long Island. So there's that element too.
Yeah, they themselves said they have 3,000 members that live in Senator Thomas's district. And they bludgeoned him. You know, it's ironic to hear them talk about billionaires spending money on TV, because they did that. That was what they did to him. They spent $1 million in one district in the span of 2 weeks, and they were unsuccessful. And so they wanted to make a statement about their issues in that district. And I said, they did make a statement. They make a statement that the people don't support what they're saying. And they reelected our Democratic senator, and they reaffirmed their faith in this Democratic majority that we have in the Senate.
Long Island, for background for folks, is I mean, they're obviously Democrats in Long Island, but it's there's more of a conservative element. Donald Trump famously does rallies there because it's like where he feels at home, I guess. I don't know. So just a little background as to the dynamics, the political dynamics there.
Thanks for watching and listening to The Nomiki Show. But remember to click like and subscribe on YouTube, and please share on social media. If you're not already a patron, please join us for as low as $5 a month on patreon.com/The Nomiki Show for early and special content. That investment makes a huge difference. We are not corporate media raking in the dough. It's really you guys that are keeping us going. So please consider being a patron. And to our current patrons, thank you so much. We are incredibly grateful to you. We also now have swag. So check us out on thenomikishow.com to get your mugs, your totes, and your stickers.